Off-screen scares are as horrific as your imagination can make them. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 scariest off-screen movie deaths. For this list, we celebrate those poor souls who met their makers out of sight of the audience. We're not really considering the amount of violence involved in their deaths, the method of killing, or if we see the body afterwards. But a spoiler alert is now in effect.
Ken, I'm dead. I f***ed her. Oh God, oh God.
Number 10, Bill Hudley, House of 1,000 Corpses.
Where's Bill? Where's Bill?
Bill?
Is he okay?
Off-screen deaths are not necessarily about shying away from violence. You'll see what we mean in our first entry, which appears in Rob Zombie's gory homage to grindhouse cinema, House of 1,000 Corpses.
But Bill? He's okay.
Before Rainn Wilson was known for his comedic brilliance thanks to The Office, he was flexing his horror movie victim muscles as a casualty of the insane Firefly family and their sadistic plans. As we watch the demented Otis explain to his latest victim what happened to poor Bill, we're shown some unsettling images of torture. However, the final kill is withheld from us in favor of the frightening reveal of what Otis did to Bill's corpse. Ladies and gentlemen, Fish Boy.
Behold! Fish Boy!
Oh my God! Oh my God, Bill! No, this can't be real! This can't be real! This can't be real! This can't be real! This can't be real!
Number 9, Dennis Nedry, Jurassic Park.
Should have been there by now.
Steven Spielberg was knocking it out of the park with thrills for the whole family by the early 90s, and Jurassic Park had the makings of a classic monster movie thrill ride. In order to make sure that this mega-budget blockbuster did not receive a rough rating, much of the violence was hidden off-screen.
Hey, nice boy! Nice, thought you were one of your big brothers. You're not so bad.
Although Mr. Arnold's death is completely unseen, and all we're left with is a severed arm, the scheming Dennis Nedry takes the prize for most chilling off-screen death. As he tries to run away with the stolen DNA samples, he's attacked by a Dilophosaurus, and we bear witness to the look of pure terror on his face before the camera pans away from his demise. Number 8, Annie, It Follows.
Hey, are you okay?
Yeah.
You need some help?
No.
It's pretty gutsy to hide violence from bloodthirsty horror fans, but in some cases the results are even more terrifying. After all, out of sight doesn't mean out of mind. It Follows introduces horror fans to a sexually transmitted curse, which makes those afflicted the targets of an invisible entity that chases, or rather follows, its prey.
Dad, I love you.
Although initially unidentifiable and unseen, this killer briefly takes on the appearance of random people and is only visible to its targets. But we're never shown its true form.
Dad, I'm sorry I can be such a shit to you sometimes. I don't know why I do that.
The film's opening shows young Annie, who is clearly being terrorized by an off-camera presence. And suddenly, a jump cut brings us to the traumatizing outcome: Annie's mangled body, alone on a beach.
Just know that I love you, okay? I just really love you both.
Number 7, Katie Embry, The Ring.
She never said anything. Nothing that would explain what happened.
A film about a killer videotape is gonna be shrouded in mystery and riddled with questions. Although a supernatural story does not require much logical thinking, the characters and audience alike will be asking, how does one end up dead after viewing this terrifying video? We get a glimpse of the ghoulish Samara and her freakish tricks when she attacks Noah later in the film. But the first shocking death is what gets us jumping out of our seats. Although we know what's coming, we are hoping somehow that Katie makes it out alive. Her twisted face proves otherwise.
I saw her face.
Number 6. Lambert, Alien.
Get out of the way, Lantz!
When the Nostromo crew picks up some unwanted cargo, they fall prey to a fierce alien creature that is hungry as hell. As we watch the xenomorph pick off the crew one by one, we realize that there's nowhere to run on this spaceship. A brilliant mix of horror and science fiction, Alien has its fair share of terrifying moments and slasher-style deaths. In one such scene, poor Lambert becomes paralyzed with fear in front of the alien, as Parker swoops in for the rescue. But it's all for naught, as Parker ends up dead. In a brilliant moment of cinematic suspense, we hear Lambert's screams, followed by a slow reveal as Ripley discovers her friends' bodies. Number 5. Bullies, Let the Right One In.
Think!
Hailed as a modern horror classic, this Swedish fable for adults relies far more on atmosphere and story than on gore and violence to achieve its chills. The story of a young vampire girl who befriends the shy boy next door achieved international acclaim for its clever use of horror tropes.
Vi ska ha en liten tävling nu. Du stannar under vattnet i 3 minuter.
When Oscar is being tormented at the pool by a bunch of bullies, we witness the most poetic and beautiful act of off-screen murder on this list.
3, 2, 1.
His head held underwater by a bully, Oscar does not know that Ellie is exacting some vicious revenge on the surface. We're treated to some muffled screams, a severed head, and tattered limbs, slowly sinking to the bottom of the pool.
Håll käften, sa jag!
Number 4. Glen Lantz, A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Why would anybody want to kill me?
The world has come to know supernatural serial killer Freddy Krueger as a bit of an over-the-top showman because his kills are gruesome and often theatrical.
Please, God.
This is God.
The deaths in A Nightmare on Elm Street are all equally violent and grisly, and director Wes Craven does not shy away from gore.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
It's interesting that this off-screen death seems to be the most brutal and extreme in the film. As a dreaming young Johnny Depp is sucked into his bed, his poor mother, and we, the poor viewers, have to watch as blood shoots into the air like a geyser up to the ceiling, sealing his fate. Number 3. Pam, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Kirk?
In a film filled with off-screen violence and implied horror, this scene stands out thanks to its brilliant tone and atmosphere. While looking for some gas to fill up their van, a group of young kids gets mixed up with a family of insane, murderous cannibals. The teens get picked off one by one in classic slasher film style, usually with the aforementioned chainsaw or other household tools. When Pam runs into the masked Leatherface, she's caught, dragged to the slaughterhouse, impaled on a hook, forced to watch her friend get slaughtered with a chainsaw, and stuffed into a freezer, most likely to be eaten at some point. She never appears on screen again.
Pam, is that you?
Number 2. Lust Victim, 7.
There are 7 deadly sins, Captain.
David Fincher successfully scarred viewers back in 1995 with his serial killer thriller, 7, and gave us probably the most brutal death on this list. There's a psychopath on the loose, and his spree is inspired by the 7 deadly sins. That means detectives Somerset and Mills witness an array of creative and unsettling deaths. As with all the victims on this list, the murders in 7 have already occurred off-screen. The detectives only ever find the bodies.
Get this thing off of me! Get this thing off of me!
With the Lust Victim, however, we barely even get a glimpse of the victim. Instead, we get a quick look at the murder weapon and a gruesome retelling of what happened. And just like that, we all need therapy.
He had a gun, and he made it happen. He made me do it.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions.
Help me!
Number 1. Heather Donahue, The Blair Witch Project.
I hear him. I hear him. I hear you! Josh!
While our screens were littered with more and more violent horror films in the 80s and 90s, The Blair Witch Project perfected the effect of off-screen horror. This low-budget indie darling shocked the world with its found footage motif, while leaving almost all the violence to the viewer's imagination.
Hear that? Hear that? Where is he? Where are you?
As the audience tags along with this film crew threesome, trudging along the deep Maryland woods making a documentary about the legend of the Blair Witch, things get real eerie real quick, but always out of view.
Come on! I hear him downstairs!
The final chase and sudden demise of Heather as they investigate a creepy house is the most effective gut punch because we see everything through her eyes. She holds the camera until she no longer can, and it feels as if we ourselves are being attacked. Do you agree with our list? What other off-screen deaths terrified you?
I'm gonna run you over when I come back down.
For more shocking top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
Oh, it's real. Real as I want it to be, Mama.